Bellefontaine, and you're listening to the HomeBuyer's Hour on WCPT AM 820. And I don't know what to tell you. We had breakfast earlier this morning, and Patrick is going out of his way trying to trigger me. All right, so I'm throwing fingers, so today might end up being a really bad show. And I just got hit in the eyeball with a malarkey flag.
Yeah.
You know things are bad. But Patrick, just so they know who you are, can you please give us the lowdown on why you're still important to me?
Yeah, God knows. So, to be honest, I'm a little bit unprepared at the moment because typically we have at least 2 to 3 technical issues before we start the show, and we're running about 5+ minutes early. So I still need a little more coffee to kind of get to that level of caffeine where my feet don't quite feel like they're touching the ground. But in the meantime, while I'm, waiting to get to that place mentally.
The happy place?
The place. My name is Patrick Loftus. I'm a real estate lawyer. Believe it or not, sometimes, and when it counts, I take things seriously. I really do. I am a real estate lawyer. It's important. Law is a very, very broad area, right? There are all kinds of lawyers. And the last thing you want to do is hire a lawyer that doesn't have experience, and a lot of it, in the thing you're trying to hire that lawyer to do. So if you hired a lawyer and say, for example, they handled your traffic ticket or, God forbid, your DUI, probably not the guy you want for your real estate purchase or sale. Instead, you want to hire me because you never met me in traffic court. You will have met me because either you met me, somehow serendipitously, or you were referred by your real estate broker. But either way, that will have been a very fortuitous meeting for you because I'm the guy who handles real estate transactions, and I'll be able to protect you from whatever bad things might be awaiting. Because real estate transactions are easy. They're not. If you bought a place or sold a place and it seemed easy, it's because you were probably the sucker at the table, is what I've been telling people. So if you didn't arrive at some point in the transaction where you had a decision to make, I'm a little bit skeptical about your representation.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of decisions that need to be made, and we don't want to make them for people, but we want to educate them so they make an intelligent decision.
You're right. So let me get around to answering your question. So your question was, how do I get in touch with you? And I didn't answer it because I just like to hear myself talk. I like talking about myself, like most of us. Find me on social media. Okay, I'm probably, if you call me and it's not a number that's entered into my phone, saved into my phone, there's a good chance I'm not going to answer it. And that's not the situation we want. Instead, follow me on social media. And you can do that on Instagram at Loftus_law, LOF like Frank, T like Tom, US like Sam. On TikTok, find me at Loftus Law and find all the fun flame wars in my comment section. It's great.
Sounds good. And going a little bit more about our conversation this morning, I kind of dropped a bomb with our guest host. And our guest host, his name is Steve Davis. And I told him, I said, well, I really don't market real estate agents. And he was surprised that we don't try to market every single real estate agent. And I was rude. And I said that because I believe most real estate agents are not worthy, where it comes with it. And I have
trying to ruin our reputation.
I don't think that's
What's
being
going
rude.
on here?
No. Everybody's a little bit different, just like you are. You're special. And I'm
special.
thankful to WCPT. I'm getting my revenge right now. I'm thankful to WCPT because they give me this platform to talk here, and I get to bring on people that I think have value. And I guess that's really the strongest thing I was trying to get across, is that not everybody who's a real estate agent is a valuable real estate agent. So what we try to do is bring each one on here and find out what makes them valuable, and especially it's going to be their knowledge that comes with it. But Steve, I'm going to give you the mic right now. Please tell us about you, your company, your brokerage, and why people should think you're valuable.
What an intro.
I'll tell you what, after following Patrick's, can't wait to hear Joey's. All right, so, my name is Steve Davis, and I work for Compass Real Estate, part of the Qamar Group. I'm actually a partner in the firm. We have 38 agents. been doing this for almost 18 years. Absolutely love what I do. More importantly is being able to help with a greater impact and the idea of helping and making sure that you're educated throughout your experience, and more importantly is having someone who knows what they're doing. When it comes to real estate, when it comes to any profession, in my opinion, you either are very good at what you do and you're worthy of why you're hired, or you're just another person that does the job. So that's kind of how I would say that.
Well said.
Your whole thing with saying that why you don't go after realtors, why you don't, however you, build your business or whatnot. I think it has to do with integrity, no matter what. And so I'm not appalled or felt insulted whatsoever, Charlie, just to let you know, because the thing is I think that all of us get to a certain point in our careers and what we do and realize either we want to work with that person, we don't, or we respect their business or we don't respect their business.
Well said.
So.
No, I love it, and thank you for that.
And how do we get in touch
problem.
with you, by the way?
Please,
Oh, sure.
contact.
My number is 312-513-6314. You can find me on Instagram, which is going to be I'm Steve Davis, very simple, as well as my email address is stevedavis@compass.com.
Sounds good. And last but not least is my favorite mortgage broker. And Joey, I got to tell you, my phone has been ringing off the hook. All right, and we're booked out until next week right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with the interest rates. Did something just happen?
I mean, did something just happen? I mean, over the course of the last month, I would say many things have happened. We've had fantastically weak economic data since October 20. I think it was October 26th. Yeah,
What does
October
that mean,
26th.
weak economic data? I mean, explain it to me as if, well, I don't know, so explain it to me.
Yeah. So we've had lower than expected inflation numbers, the consumer price index, the producers price index. We've seen some job reports falling, jobs reports for unemployment being higher than what was anticipated until today. Today came in a little bit light, but that's okay because I think the Fed meeting minutes got released.
Joey, I think you sent your AI version to the show today. You sound like Robot Joey showed up to
Do
the
I?
HomeBuyer's.
Now you start.
That's better.
That's better.
I hate this thing.
Usually I appreciate you with the technical difficulty because I was feeling very thrown off by the fact that, Charlie literally plugged everything in and said, hey, we're ready to go. I'm just like,
Who
what?
are you?
What?
No,
Yeah.
we're not.
Oh,
Nope.
there's
You guys
back.
back. You're back.
AI Joey's back.
You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to be right back.
Sounds good. All right. So let's get back to Steve a little bit, and then I do want to hear from Joey in the market. He'll get all that stuff worked out so we get better sound. But, one of the biggest questions, Steve, is when? When should I buy? And I think that's part of the reason. It's always, to me, it's fear is a huge motivator. And I think they actually call it FOMO, right? Fear of missing out.
That's correct.
But go on. Tell me about the market, where we at, and why somebody should wait or why they should move forward.
So, when I was here a couple of months ago, I believe it was, one of the big things was that we weren't sure what was happening with the markets. Weren't sure about the rates, if they were going to start coming down, if they were not, what was happening. So the whole thing now is the fact that there's been people that have been waiting, and that's fine. And waiting makes sense if the affordability isn't there. However, this is now where the rates are starting to come down. If you've noticed, the prices are still pretty good in the market in regard to not, increasing to the amount that it will be. So what will happen is you have now decided, okay, we're going to wait for a little while. Okay, you've waited. Now you have two choices. Same thing as you always have. Jump in now while the supply and demand makes sense, meaning the rates are coming down, the prices are where they're at, and there's still no inventory. I got news for you. Come, the spring, or even after January, when more properties come on, you will still have no inventory because now you will have more buyers as well.
More competition.
More competition.
Yeah, people's needs aren't static, or they don't. People's needs don't coincide with the market, right? So if when you have a new addition to the family, for example, or you have people that move out because they've gotten old enough to go to college or whatever it is. That happens when it happens. It doesn't happen, if you're lucky, it happens, at the perfect time. But I don't think really you should be hoping that you can hope that happens, but prepare that for the fact that it might not. And so, to answer your question, Charlie, in my opinion, when to buy a home is when your needs change, when you need a different home. And Steve, you said something along the lines of, affordability can be an issue, and it definitely is, right? And part of that is because interest rates did increase so much and so quickly. But then, it's funny. We're in this industry, we're in this business, and we can more or less kind of expect certain things, in preparing for whatever might happen. But, one thing that I think that we expected is that as interest rates come down off of whatever that peak is, that 7.25 feels different today than it did even 3-4 months ago.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
we first saw it. And people's, psyches are, they're basically predictable in that sense. So, there's a reason, people, 7.25, I better jump on that. That is not how they felt when we first saw 7.25, right?
No, and the thing is that it's the rate where it's at now, it's going to level off to 5.5%, 6%, 6.5%. I don't know.
Eventually. That's the intention.
But and I know Joey's not on here, but he can definitely, answer this as well, is that, or be able to give his insight. But the thing is that they said by June of this year that the rates were going to come down, and we got to just wait till June, wait till May, whatever, right? Well, it didn't happen until now, and it's the end of November. So the fact is that you can't anticipate it. You can anticipate, but at the same time you can also be wrong. And even economists that get paid, lots and lots of money to tell us what's going to happen, they couldn't answer it. So if that doesn't tell you anything,
I can tell you a story. I remember back. This would have been sometime in 2007. I was working for a home builder. Not a great time to be working for a home builder. Those were some harrowing times for that business, no doubt. But I went to, as part of my job, it was basically a simulcast of a National Home Builders Association gathering or whatever, and they had their lead economist. I think it's a fellow. I think his last name's Zandy. I could be getting that wrong, but in any event, his prediction, and this is literally a trained economist who's hired to give opinions that people are going to rely on. In his opinion, we were going to see some tough times in the winter of 07 to 08, but by the middle of 08, we were going to be all right. That's not what happened, is it, Charlie?
No, there was a light switch. And there's a lot of people that are predicting this thing to be happening next year, too.
And I still see his name on, reputable opinions when it comes to the housing market. You're allowed, apparently, as an expert, to have a wrong prediction.
Well, even the best-looking, most popular weatherman in the world, Tom Skilling, and yes, I am the president of Tom Skilling Fan Club. All right, and by the way, he is very good-looking.
His stunt double over here.
So awesome.
Yeah, my doppelganger. And but he makes mistakes too. Even if you're grilling, you can't always get that stuff. But, going back to what Steve was saying a little bit, I've been noticing that we've been finding a hell of a lot more issues wrong with houses. And that doesn't mean we're doing a better job. That means there's a lot of bad houses that people are buying.
I think people are trying to put lipstick on a pig in a way, too. So they're just trying to make it so it passes. And that's not obviously good either, because then you're not giving a good product away. But people they can tend to be a little on the desperate side to get rid of something. They need to get rid of it. But they can also be all about, they're not caring about the next buyer. They're caring about their next move.
Of course.
And that's something that is there. So it's the home inspector's job to find everything. It's the
And I got
you know
that.
what I
I'm
mean?
going to interrupt
find
real
everything,
quick because there's
Charlie.
also a lot of real estate agents out there that don't want the home inspectors. And you asked me before, why don't I market them? Because I don't want somebody telling me that, I don't want you to put all that stuff in there. You're going to kill my deal.
Well, then they shouldn't be. Yeah, that's ridiculous anyway.
But that's where I'm going
Sure.
here. And that's why I want to talk to you about this.
Sure.
Why do accuracy is the key.
100%.
I get it that somebody can blow something out of proportion. I get it that somebody can sugarcoat it either. Accuracy is the most important thing. And then for Patrick, you want all that, proper knowledge that comes in there when it's in the report so that you can help write whatever it is. Because once we start getting to the level of BS, then we don't do our clients any good. And once
No.
they move in, they're going to be angry. And that anger, you were kind of talking earlier about why are you talking to me as a real estate agent? I'd love for you to share that story. Why didn't you go back and list your house with the person that you bought your house from? Why aren't you talking to that real estate agent again? Why are you interviewing me? Can you share that? I want to hear more on that.
Absolutely. So when an agent goes for an interview, because it is an interview, because it is for a job, I will emphasize that. One of my old mentors explained that to me. So when you're going in for an interview, the first question and the most important thing is not about you to get that job. It's to discover. It's to find out why exactly they're interviewing you versus however many other agents out there. What makes you special, so on. So you're always going to answer that question because that's where you try to sell yourself. In my opinion, I don't think that's as important, where you want to actually find out what's important to them. So your questions are, what is it that you're looking for in a real estate agent? What did you not find that was satisfactory with the last real estate agent, considering I'm sitting here and they are not? What is it that, I can do that's different or that's going to make it so that you feel, better about your decision? There's a lot of questions that come into play. And I think the experienced agents, as well as the ones that want to educate and to make sure that the client is comfortable, before the process, even if they don't get hired, but before the process, during the process, and after the process.
Yeah, now you're talking karma a little bit, and I want to get back to that a little bit. But Joey ended up coming back on the connected
back,
with
Joey.
us, and I want to go ahead and get an update on the rates and up and down and everything else going on. So Joey, please continue where you left off.
All right. Well, I don't know what kind of robot stuff you heard earlier, but
Hey, we got regular
yes.
Joey back.
I like
hey,
regular
there
Joey.
he is, this idiot.
Lovable.
Anyway,
As far as if we're taking score, as far as who has the most technical difficulties, you're so far behind the leader. You're entitled to more than a few more.
And we don't want to mention any names, but his initials are Charlie Bellefontaine.
Yeah, that guy has no clue. I mean,
So Joey,
guy's got
go
a ton of
on.
initials. Anyway, so what's going on? So since October 26th, when the market essentially bottomed out for rate purposes, or not, well, I guess topped out, I should say, for rate purposes for mortgage-backed securities pricing, we have seen weak economic data. Weak economic data is good for people looking to buy, because as we see weaker economic data come in, we see Fed policies start to shift to more of a loosening policy rather than a tightening policy. Whenever they're tightening, they're trying to make things more expensive. At the end of the day, what it is making things more expensive, so less people are utilizing goods or purchasing goods. So inflation report has come in light. CPI 2 weeks ago, or last week, the production report came in super light. Mm-hmm. The jobs report today, it came in a little bit heavy for the first time in, I want to say it was 3 weeks since the last time we had a light jobs report.
When you say heavy and light, can you explain what that means?
It came in lighter of expectation, which in this case would normally be a bad thing, but there was underlying data that helped boost mortgage-backed securities today. So today's been it started off well, it went kind of flat. So we're trading pretty flat today. But yeah, over the course of the last month, we've probably seen 0.75% gain in rates. So if you were in the 8s, you're now in the 7s, and the 6s could be on the horizon if we continue to see weakening economic data come in. The FOMC, the Federal Open Markets Committee, released their last meeting minutes yesterday as well. And while the Fed does believe, the higher for longer policy standpoint, I feel like at this point it's starting to feel like a little bit of hot air, because at the end of the day, the markets are going to dictate policy, period, right? They can't continue leaving things high if the market's getting too loose. And yeah, so I feel like we may hit our first refinance cycle in the next 6-7 months. We'll see. There's talk about the chance of the Fed lowering rates for the first time this coming July. We'll see. Joey Stradamus is not going to make a prediction because
Yes,
he
you
hates being
are.
wrong.
You know you
All
are.
right, they're going to raise rates in July. It's going to be terrible.
Listen, it's fine.
All right.
Even the finest, as we discussed earlier, even the finest economic minds make wildly inaccurate predictions, and they still get to have their job as predictors of
His
the
name
future.
is Barry Habib, and he's
That's
wrong
correct.
99% of the time.
There
But
it
that
is.
1% that he's right, people love the guy.
Tell you what,
But
yeah.
I'm also
99% of the time, Joey?
I mean, that might be statistics are made
Stick
up
with it,
76%
all right?
of the
I'm
time
buying
on the
it.
spot.
go with the 99%,
Hey,
Joey.
the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl next
They
year.
are going to win the Super Bowl
Yeah,
this year.
It's about the same.
All right, they're
All right,
still got it.
whoa,
But
slow down.
slow down.
If by Super Bowl you mean the first draft pick.
Oh
then,
my goodness.
I'm there.
But no, I also noticed that, gas prices are low. I also heard that OPEC is going to start reducing the amount of oil that they're going to be producing in hopes to go ahead and elevate that stuff.
It
but
won't
all
matter
that
that
stuff
much.
comes in there. You don't think it'll matter that much. I think it does.
Yeah, well, OPEC. So let me just tell you what I've learned from TikTok about oil and gas.
Oh my goodness, here we go
Please,
again.
please do.
Yeah, Steve, you better get ready to take
so,
over.
There's a few things. We're all kind of scarred. Our psyches are scarred by our experiences that we've gone through. So, for example, you get people. I'm sure, Steve, you talk to people who go, look, I lived through 2007 through 2010. The bottom's going to fall out of the market, and they're waiting for that to happen, and they're going to be waiting a long time, and they'll probably be in their grave before that happens. Okay.
Well, how many people thought there was a bubble? What, about a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, there's
Over the last 4 years.
Right.
there's not, because
Exactly, Joey.
the
It's like-
underlying fundamentals don't support it.
know what a bubble is.
I remember when the bubble was happening. I could tell you what was going on the mean streets of Chicago back in the mid-aughts, and it looked a lot different. Anyways, so my point was going to be that what people when you hear that OPEC is going to raise or lower their amount of production, people's minds travel back to the 70s when that was basically they held all the keys to most of the oil. Now, what has happened in the intervening time frame is that we learned our lesson from that experience.
Correct.
And the U.S. is actually a net exporter of oil and gas. So we produce enough oil and gas in this country to satisfy all of our needs. Now, if prices go up, what the consequence is going to be is actually that we are going to increase production here because it will make economic sense. So instead of being held, basically to the whim of OPEC as we were in the 70s, the way that things are today, we actually we hold a lot more cards in our hand. So I don't expect,
Which is great.
if you look at gas prices, because I did some looking into this, even though you're the gas price guy, even though you drive an electric vehicle, so for some reason.
Another trigger.
But because I was going to do, some
Shots fired.
Right.
I'm nothing but shots. Oops, I'm going to pay for that.
That thing's just going to go back and forth all day. I'm just going to sit over here and watch it.
So, I don't even know what I was talking about. I was talking about oil and gas. We're much more self-sufficient and higher if gas prices do stay higher. So what I was saying, the reason I actually have some knowledge about gas prices over the past couple of years, I was going to do some content about holiday travel, which I will at some point before the holidays are over and it's not timely anymore. But today's gas prices are lower than last year's by a significant amount, by like 30, 40 cents. And because gas prices are cyclical in the sense that summer is higher, winter is lower, generally speaking, if you are going to be doing any traveling, for example, for Christmas time, holiday time, whatever you want to call it, you're probably going to be more likely to decide to drive than to fly, because it's just always going to be expensive to fly during Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, unless you're going international. But yeah, gas
They
prices
sell a
should
lot
be
of
all right
those
for you.
tickets.
And that's helping with inflation, of course, because gas is a big part of that, as is housing.
Yeah, and I go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs: food, water, shelter.
Gas.
Those are the big three things. Well, in order to get food, water, and shelter, we need a job. All right. In order to get to the
Work
job,
from
we
home.
need
Work
gas.
from home, Charlie.
And that's where we come in. I know I'm getting all worked up. You did this from day one. But, Steve, I want to get back to value. All right.
Yep.
Something else I want to throw in there is sometimes I'll get a phone call and the person who's interviewing me as their home inspector, the only thing they want to know is what's the price. And at that point in time, they think that home inspectors are a commodity. And if I get it, if we are all the same, then you go with the cheapest price. I don't blame it.
I know a home inspector that's not the same as the other ones.
I behave. Now, Steve, this is about you, not about Patrick
Are
here.
you sure?
Do you think all real estate agents are the same? I know the answer.
So I'm going to go with no on that.
Okay. And then, but which is what I wanted to hear. Now, the hard question, and this is a hard question. How do you tell somebody what your value is? Why you? Why should they hire you over somebody else?
Well, I think it goes back to asking the question of you pay for what you get.
Yeah, but that's too general of a thing. So what am I going to get? Let me rephrase my question.
Sure.
What am I getting with you?
Well, first of all, you're going to get the education, almost 18 years of experience. You're going to get my team, which consists of, if you hire one of us, you're hiring 38 of us.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yes, sir. We have a large team. We're able to coach, teach, mentor everyone into being great agents. And we have a very, very low revolving door, if you will. So they have to provide.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's a lot of value, the
makes
low
a big
revolving
difference.
door.
100%. And that goes along with my business, too. So, you can hire anyone to do anything, and you can hire someone because they live in your building, and you can hire someone because they're in your area. You can hire someone because someone referred you. But the thing is that getting that referral means not only am I going to impress you, right, Charlie, to sell your house, but also I'm going to impress upon the fact of like, hey, listen, I have this opportunity to sit down with you and your family to see if I'm a good fit to sell your house. I also need to impress Patrick because Patrick referred me to you. You know what I mean? So there's more to it than that. When it comes down to real estate in general, anyone has pictures, anyone who has comps, anyone who has any of those things. The value I bring to it is not only the education, but it's also the fact of what can I do for you? What are you looking for as far as a home buyer or a seller?
Yeah, let me see if I can add to that. So what I heard you say earlier is that when you're sitting down to interview with a potential listing, you're asking questions, which I think is you're starting down the right path right off the bat by asking questions and finding out about the other person. You're not sitting there telling them all of the features that you offer, because I don't think that's particularly relevant to the person you're talking to. Through that process, you're learning about the needs that this person has.
Correct.
What's relevant to them?
Every home seller, home buyer has a set of needs. And while some of those needs are going to be fairly commonplace, I need to get the best price. Okay, I mean, that's, okay, I'm going to get you the best price. That doesn't move the needle, right? Because it's a very hollow thing to say. It's very obvious. But as you discover, that's the word you used, these people's needs, you're able to identify things that you can offer to specifically meet each person's
To be a
needs.
resource, correct.
Which I think is something that sets someone apart from someone who's just offering the service they offer. And rather than offering a blanket set of, these are the features that I offer. I've sold, this many $1 million of real estate last year. I had this many clients. I did all these great things. I was in the President's Club. I was in the 100% Club. I was in the, I have a green hat club. That's...
They got a green hat club?
I didn't know that
I'm
either.
sure they do. I'm
do.
sure they do. Trust me. I grew up in a real estate household. The number of plaques. It's. I'll tell you. God, I'm going to get off track again. Again, when I was working for a home builder, they sent, because nobody who's been to more than 2 of these banquets wants to go to another one, where they hand out those awards where it's like best ranch model, and somehow,
Ranch model?
Best ranch model with 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Best ranch model with 3 bedrooms.
Because then you've got a bunch of plaques you can hang up on the wall of the
I just
of the
make
model.
my own plaques.
You can. I mean, you might as well. I mean, it's about the same thing. The only difference is they paid to you get a banquet. That's the difference.
All right, so
So the point is, all of those awards, it's super lawyers. I'm great. I paid to be in a magazine that calls me a super lawyer. It's absolutely meaningless. It means nothing. What matters, what should matter to someone who is a discerning consumer of real estate, is that the person sitting across from you actually listened, like Steve is describing, to what is important to you, and then they say, and if they have a need that maybe you can't meet, maybe one of the 37 other brokers can, but if not, it may not be a good fit, and that's fine too. But the fact of the listening part, I think that sets you apart from a lot, if not most, people.
are you saying that
more than
not
just
a lot
real
of
estate
people will listen more than ask questions,
I'm sorry.
more than talk about themselves?
What did you say?
That's true. 2 ears, 1 mouth. They gave it to us for a reason, but
Were
we
you
never
talking?
listened to that.
Charlie, you talking?
I am
can't-
talking.
I can't hear a thing.
Sorry about that. I can hear me.
I'm making a joke about
Oh.
people listening
Gotcha.
or not.
I
I'm
was
a little
wondering, too.
slow, but
I
I'm
was a little-
consistent.
Yeah.
When it comes to that.
It made sense to me.
But I get it. But the biggest thing is, for example, talking with you guys here. If I ask Joey, what makes you valuable? Why should I use you as my mortgage broker? I know the answer is going to be because I cross every T, I dot every I. I have never had a loan that did not clear to close, based on me missing something right up front. So when he gives a pre-approval, it's there. That's a big number. And we're talking about, just like you, when I said, wow, what'd you say, 36 on your team?
38.
38 on your team. Joey's got a big team too, and he demands the same thing that he gets out of him. I know Joey's value. Patrick, you are open with everything that you talk about when it comes to the law. You understand condo docs. You understand what needs to be there. You got your processes in order, and you make things happen. Again, there's no headaches. There's no mistakes. That's valuable. All right? And that's where I see a lot of real estate agents fail. And to me, it's more important about the number of units. I really don't like that how much money I sold category, because I've seen people that are in the top 5%. Well, they're in the top 5%, but they sold 5 houses last year. Well, congratulations. They were expensive homes. I'm happy for you. But I want experience.
That's called lazy.
Maybe
That's called I don't have to work that hard because I make enough money from 5 different houses.
And
It's not
Sounds
about
good.
money.
Sounds right.
It's about
and
money.
Joey, I know that's one of the words you use a lot too.
Can I say something
If
nice
it's
about
hold
Joey?
on. All right, go ahead. I got something to rebuttal on that,
All right,
that
just
one for
real
sure.
quick. In the year and a half we've been doing this, every time we've had a question for Joey, he's just like, boom, got the answer. Even when
He
I'm
does.
like, well, Joey, let me throw a curveball at you. He smacks it.
Then why don't we let him talk more?
let him?
Man, I love hearing you talk about me. That's it. That was great. I mean, Patrick spent 10 minutes talking about himself. Charlie spent 7 on me.
Listen,
I value all of you. That's what I'm trying to say.
and I'm being generous by
Yeah.
allowing you guys to have all of that time to talk about yourself. Steve, you were wanting to say something, and I decided my thing was more important.
No,
What
it's
was
okay.
it you wanted to say?
I know part of the deal about being on this podcast. All right. So
I think it was the money.
I
in
got
units.
it. All right, I got it.
It's somehow lazy and
All right. I finally got it out. I never threw that thing, but that was
Throw it here. You
deserving.
want another?
It was kind of. So the big thing I believe in our business is anyone can go ahead and make money from the job. You have to make money to eat. I get that, support your family, so on.
Yeah.
But if you only do a job because of the money, in my opinion, that's sad, especially when you have a job that has the opportunities and, more importantly, the honor and the privilege of working with people that are, selling the American dream, buying the American dream in larger volumes.
It's a big deal.
I think it's a huge deal, and the fact is, I tell agents when they come in and I'm coaching and teaching, and them I say, are you doing this only for the money? Well, the 19, 20-year-olds are going to say yes because they got to make money. The ones that are older that have been doing this and they only do it for the money, well, I don't need you in my business anymore. Like, this is not what you're doing. You're not in here just to make money. Now, this is my opinion, and everyone has their own opinion, and that's why we all are here. But at the same time, if you're only doing it for money, and like you said, Charlie, 5 deals, and you don't have to work the rest of the year, please get out of my business. Because
they're not going to.
You're
You and I
not
both
giving.
know that.
But I understand that, but you're also not giving the service you should be giving to your clients. You're doing the bare minimum. I go above and beyond. That, you wanted to ask another question of why I'm worth what I'm worth?
Yeah.
I will go above and beyond. I will make sure I'm there in case you can't be there and you got to let the guy come in to fix your fridge before we sell your house. I will be there to let the painter in because you're working all day to make sure I can facilitate that for you. There was one deal where I was selling a property and the woman called me and she's like, my basement just flooded. We have water in the basement and we're supposed to close in 2 days. I went over there with a shop vac. I sat there and cleaned it up. I made sure we had an emergency plumber. I did all these different things. Find that in another agent that loves doing what they do as much as I do.
I'm listening to everything and I'm grinning ear to ear. I cannot tell you how good it makes me feel. And it just reminds me when my kids were going to college and they were trying to figure out what they were doing for the rest of their lives, And the biggest thing I told them is you got to find your passion. The money will come, all right? And if you find the passion, and most people, I'm hoping that if they get into the real estate business, you have to have a passion of helping another human being.
100%.
All right, and as long as you got that and you really believe in it, then the money will come. You're going to do it well. You're going to go out of your way for people. They're going to see it, and the value will come there. Steve, we got to go around the horn. I'm running a little late right now. How do people get hold of you if they have questions?
Yeah, you can reach me at stevedavis@compass.com or my Instagram, I'm Steve Davis. Or you can reach me at my cell, 312-513-6314.
And then, Patrick, please, how do they get hold of you?
Instagram, Loftus_law, TikTok at Loftus Law.
And again, my name is Charlie. I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. Our website is www.thehomeinspectors, that's plural, O-R-S, and that's a .com. If you're interested in getting into the home inspection business, we also own Home Inspection University, that's HIUIL.com, and our phone number is 312-514-9180. And Joey, how do they get hold of you? And then I got a follow-up question after you get us that information.
I forgot to introduce myself. Joey Mathews, NMLS 1230694, the VA Loan Nerd. You could find me at thevaloannerd.com. You could call or text me at 630-235-2405. You could find me on all my social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd.
He does have the most romantic voice there is.
I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
I hope that microphone's got a warranty.
I hope so too. But
Switching mics.
But Joey, one of the
I don't
things.
mean to rag on you, Joey. It's
all good.
Sound is a big deal to me.
It is. But Joey, one of the things that I like to look for when I'm hiring a home inspector for our company is, again, going back to that passion. You gotta want to help other people. What are some of the things you look for when somebody wants to come on your team?
He's switching mics.
I'm switching mics. There we go.
There he is.
That's
Yeah.
God.
All right.
That's a world of difference.
The biggest things that I look for is I want people that are going to commit to this, because I work with a lot of firefighters. I work with a lot of cops, right? They need to commit to this being a real job. This is a big boy job. Big girl job. You're
not
dealing
a
with
hobby.
people's lives. It's absolutely not a hobby. I used to
It's not a
drive
side hustle.
It is no. Oh my God! So when I was at the firehouse, people talked about it like it was a side hustle. I was like, "Yeah, you call it a side hustle? Again, I'm gonna punch you in the freaking face."
Now that's
Yeah,
firehouse humor for those of you that don't understand it, but I get it.
Yeah. Sorry. No, it's the commitment to excellence, the commitment to learn. I think if you show me that you're willing to learn this job, if you're willing to, and by learn I mean know your guidelines, know what you can and can't do. Don't throw poop at a wall and hope something sticks, because those people find themselves out of this business real quick, and we've seen that over the last 3 years. We've gone from 200,000 national mortgage loan originators to under, I think it's 80,000 now. I mean, it's insane. It's
amazing, isn't it?
I hate to say I'm happy about it, but I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people that are gone are the people that gave us a bad reputation.
Yep. I can tell.
but-
when the herd gets called, I can tell. You know, when things are in the state of affairs that they're in, you know, currently, and in those situations where it's not hot, so to speak. Man, is it such a breath of fresh air to deal mostly with professionals, either whether it's the mortgage broker, the real estate broker, the closers. You know, the people who stick around are, you know, they're the real ones.
And that's true is another thing important when you take them as a commodity. My son's listening right now, Joey, and I know you did his mortgage as well as mine. And he just put on there, you know, he's trying to trigger me. I think he's on Patrick's
Nice.
podcast and stuff like that. But he threw out here, I'm not having a magical day. So, and I think that's a story worth telling, because, you know, I used to take the kids down to Disney World a lot. Happiest place on earth, right? So we used to go there,
Not
and I
for
went there
parents.
for a convention one time at MGM Studios. And my kids were small. They wanted juice boxes. So I go up to I got in line to get the drinks, you know, and I asked them for 3 juice boxes. And the guy, I felt so bad. The guy tells me we don't have any juice boxes, right? Well, all week long, I'm at the hotel, and everything I kept hearing is, have a magical day, have a magical day, have a magical day. So I was cracking a joke. And I told the guy, he says, well, I'm not having a magical day, you know. And my God, it's like I punched him in the nose. He looked at me like I was Walt Disney out of cryogenics himself. And you could see the blood leaving his head. He took off running, and I mean full speed running, and left us standing. I'm like, what the hell did I just do? He comes back, and his arms were full of juice boxes left and right.
Oh, so they did have juice boxes.
And, well, he didn't have any, and he got more for me. And I'm like, all right, dude, you rock. You know, that's all there is to it. And just a simple thing like that, like what you're talking about, going over when somebody's in a dire need because they're flooding. That's huge. You know, and I don't know how you can keep expressing how important all that stuff is.
Well, I think the
don't
big
think
thing
most
is
brokers
it's
would do that.
not about selling yourself, and I think too many people feel like they have to sell themselves. If you have to sell yourself, in my opinion,
You already lost.
What's that?
Sorry. You already lost.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Either you know your stuff, or you don't, and either you're going to be a beneficial factor for them, or you're not. You know, and I think it's the same as anything. I think your reputation precedes you, and I think
Most
your
important
experience. Yeah, your experience does. I mean,
yeah, I've said that
you know?
time and time again. Everybody goes, what are the 3 most important words in real estate? Location, location, location. And then I ask him, I go, okay, what are the 3
What the
most
hell?
important words to
I
a real
disagree.
estate agent? You know, what are 3 most important words about you? And I'm hoping to hear reputation, reputation, reputation.
nope. I'll
Tell
give
me.
you reputation.
Love it.
I'll give you integrity,
All right.
and I will give you being real.
But don't the last
Those are 2
two
words.
improve your reputation? You know, what did I miss something there?
I said being real, and he goes, "That's 2 words."
I'm the worst. Hey, at least you.
How about real? Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Real
like
factor?
I
No,
like
that's
it.
2 words. Damn it.
You could also say that you've never been banned from all Disney properties for any period of time.
I have not been banned from all Disney properties at any
Oh
given time.
boy, I forgot.
Or
Joey,
companies.
Be glad,
Joey,
Joey,
what
you're
happened to
not
you,
with
buddy?
him any longer because he is
Are
trying
we-
to trigger everyone.
Is this triggering Joey?
Oh,
What
yeah.
happened?
I'll tell you after.
Oh, please do. I got to hear this.
Yeah, it's a goofy story.
Yeah.
I'll send the video that can't be sent.
Oh, the video. There's even a video.
Joey was once goofy. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, but he puked in the costume.
And there it is. All right.
Nice.
He was
Video
he
not
was,
needed.
He was 19 or 18 years old. We got to cut him a
18.
little slack.
It was between college and boot camp. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, guess what? You win that one. So there's no judgment on my end.
No,
there
no
might be
judgment
judgment
here
from these
either.
two, but there's no judgment from me, Joey.
I'm
I
not
love
judging him. But, you know,
Sound a
but
little
look
judgy.
at Joey's thing. You know, you go for his value. His value is that silent thing, you know. If everything goes smooth, he met his expectations. But people don't realize that it doesn't always go smooth. When he makes everything go smooth, that's valuable.
The less I hear from the mortgage broker, the better. Until I actually want to hear from you, and you better not.
And that's CDC.
See, I disagree. I
Our
disagree.
contingency date.
I just
No, I always do weekly updates. I do
There
weekly
you go.
video
See,
updates.
boom, right
Do-
there. That's
do
what I
you-
wanted to hear because the fact is that if you are communicating with the people involved, the parties involved, where there's not too many cooks in the kitchen, but at the same time giving basic facts. Hey, your loan is under underwriting. Great news, they've been pre-approved. Great news, we got a CTC. You know, clear to close. Those things are very, very important. And the same thing should be on the other side. Tell me agents out there that will call you on a weekly basis that will tell you where you're at in your process, whether you're waiting for a clear close, whether you're waiting for the appraisal, whether you're waiting for the earnest money, whether you're waiting for getting out of attorney review. And more importantly is when I make those phone calls, I say, hey, how you doing today? Everything's good, blah, blah, blah. All right, I just want to give you a quick update. I have a question for you real quick. Do you need anything from me? And then I say, all right, here's what's going on with your deal. Here's what's up, blah, blah, blah. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, great. Moving on. So Joey will probably understand this as well as possibly you, Patrick. And Charlie, I don't know if you're aware of this. I was a part of coaching crew, coaching team, coaching aspect, whatever you want to call it. And they taught me how to have theme days. So every single Tuesday, I'm reaching out to my current clients. And that, I think, is huge. The fact is that if you're reaching out to your clients on a weekly basis, as Joey said, I commend you on that, my friend, that makes a big difference. I want to work with you more than I want to work with someone else that doesn't call me.
Yeah.
That drives me insane.
Being an effective communicator, but on top of it, you know, being just being someone who is going to listen. I never want to be in a position on any aspect of a transaction where something comes as a surprise to someone, and the reason is because they weren't kept in the loop. Right? There are certain
Correct.
things that perhaps I don't need to.
Surprises are horrible.
Right. Surprises are what kill deals, right? So, you know, for example, the deal I closed yesterday, the lawyer on the other side casually dropped the fact that the tenant on the second floor had not paid their rent for October and November, and that's why they weren't offering a November rent proration.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of a big
Little bit.
deal. It was super casual though, and I was just like, hold up, what? So I called my client. I'm like, you know, bro, this is what's going on. And he's like, oh, man, that's no good. So I called up the other lawyer and I said, you know, interesting how casual you were about that. And we got a big problem because we now have a delinquent tenant as opposed to a nice current paying tenant who's, you know, we don't have to worry about. And, you know, basically we didn't resolve that until like 15 minutes before the closing the next day. And, you know, there were a couple little ins and outs.
And
I
that's
mean,
probably the integrity of the other attorney, correct? You can't answer that question. I will answer it for you.
I have some opinions about that person.
Thank you, Steve. I'm on board with you.
Sorry.
But
I'm right there.
This
true.
is the same lawyer who, when we had a deal closing during my honeymoon, and I asked really politely, hoping for some professionalism from the other lawyer. They said, we really need to close at 8 a.m. Central Time, and your time zone's not my problem, essentially. And
wow, that's nice.
The funniest part, if you want to call it funny, is that I was up at 4 a.m. I was like, okay, we're doing this. I'm here for my clients. And I get an email from the closer saying, whoops, we're not going to close until, the Tuesday, because Monday was a holiday. So I was up for no good reason after that lawyer just insisted we had to close the first thing in the morning Chicago time. And I still feel some kind of way about this person.
Well, here's the thing, and I would emphasize this real quick because I know I run out of time. The fact is that's what makes you different, in the fact of making sure that you're taking care of your client.
Yeah.
The other side doesn't seem like that attorney cared, except for getting paid, getting the deal done, and moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well,
so that makes you different.
Makes perfect sense.
And that lawyer shot themselves in the foot in terms of reputation,
Sure.
and it informed how I handled our interaction on this occasion, and it was to my benefit that I was like, yeah, that's the one who did that thing.
I mean, it goes back to some basic rules. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Golden rule.
And don't expect, somebody to treat you better than what you're treating them.
It's all going to come around, and it came around, and
Yeah.
I got a better deal for my client at the end of the day because I was like, I know how this person is. So.
Last week we talked about the NAR lawsuit, and the biggest thing that I came out of that with is, if you're in this business, and I don't care if you're a real estate attorney, a home inspector, a real estate broker, a real estate mortgage broker, I don't care. You better learn how to tell your value.
Oh,
all right?
course.
Because now I think that, by switching and putting the blanks on the commissions, or a buyer's agent having to, decide what they're going to get paid with their client, you better be able to make sure why you have that value.
And one of the biggest, and one of the biggest things too is that, with that being said, I don't care where this NAR thing goes. The fact is that you as a seller have to understand that, you're going to pay your agent because he or she is representing your property. But if you don't pay on the buyer's side, there may not be traffic coming through your property.
But you also got to make sure the buyer's agent is valuable. Steve,
Once
we
again,
are running short
Charlotte
on
asking,
time.
Absolutely.
hard questions with 2 minutes left.
I always do that, and I'm sorry. How do people get hold of you? Give us all the details, please.
Sure. Steve Davis, my number is 312-513-6314.
Say it again, please, a little bit slower.
Sure. 312-513-6314. My email address is stevedavis@compass.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram, which is I'm Steve Davis.
Sounds good. Patrick, please.
Listen, you got to be able to tell people why and how you matter in the context of the thing that they're wanting to hire you for. Otherwise, you're going to have difficulty in any aspect of your life. Find me on Instagram, Loftus, Loftus_law. Find me on TikTok, Loftus Law.
And Joey, please.
Well, you can call or text me at 630-235.
I just giggle because you sound so romantic. I'm sorry.
It's hot.
It is. Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
2405. You can find me at thevaloannerd.com or across all my social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd.
And thank you, everybody, for listening to us. Sorry if we ruined 53 minutes and 30 seconds of your life. You'll never get it back.
Thank you so much.
My name is Charlie. I'm with Chicagoland Home Inspectors. And thank you, WCPT. And I am out.